How's it going, everyone? This is Mitchell Mander here, and welcome to another review of the Boruto anime. Today we're going to be covering episode 176, which is kind of a more chill episode following the end of the car actuation arc. So, since we're in the middle of basically a couple of transition or setup episodes of the AO arc, how was this first episode of these transitional episodes? Well, before I get into that, if you like this type of content, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Anyways, let's get on to that review, shall we? So, this episode is more so a chill episode for the kids, but we got some informative information coming from the adults. So, Boruto's back from his mission, his arm's worn out because, he's using the forbidden jutsu. It was nice to see Tsubaki here, because I haven't seen her in a while, and I'd like to see her a little bit more. Maybe she's involved a little bit in some arcs coming up in the future, or maybe even in the manga stuff coming up. I'd like to see her a little bit integrated a little bit more. But anyways, Denki's up to something, and everybody's wondering, oh, what's Denki doing? And we'll get back to that in a minute. Now, this next part is probably the most interesting and informative part in the entire episode. So, Konohamaru and Majino go to give their report to Naruto, and Shikamaru, Sai, and Kakashi and Tsunade, they are here to hear, because Naruto wants them to, be in on it too. So, they give the report, they talk about the Divine Tree and what Victor and Deepa were up to, which freaks everybody out, but Sai actually goes on site, and actually him and his Anbu team were sent, and they actually find Victor's secret room there, in which they find a scroll which has karma seals on it, which is identical to what Sajoji saw when Sasuke probed his mind. So, I thought that was a pretty interesting connection there. And they also talk about, they also find out that, Kara's aware that Momoshiki came to Earth, and that was something that only the 5 Kage were aware of. So Kara is definitely something that, spreads across all 5 great nations, and somehow it's being, all this stuff is going on underneath their noses. So a few more interesting things that are discussed here. Konohamaru and Majino bring up Outers, which they found out while they were investigating Victor's lab, and they come to the conclusion that, that's a code name for members that are not necessarily higher up in Kara, but they're basically used to spread across the 5 great nations and cause all kinds of mischief. So there was that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Another thing that was cool in this episode is that they actually sent somebody from the Hidden Leaf Village to each of the 5 great nations. Well, at least 4 of them, since they're already in the Hidden Leaf. But anyways, they send somebody, a representative, out to basically talk to them about the threat of Kara. Interesting thing here is they also bring up the Iowa Doctor, which Hinabi is sent to this Hidden Stone Village, and she brings up the Tsuchikage. And it turns out that maybe Inoki here was actually possibly being used by Kara, because the Iowa Doctor was possibly already a member of Kara by this point, and was basically there to get information on the fabrications. So Kara probably has that information as well. But the main thing that goes on here is that they talk about shutting down the gates for the Hidden Leaf, so that it basically stops this threat from possibly happening in the future, or more people that are outer members of Kara from entering the village, because they have all this information now. They know about Momoshiki, they know about all the stuff that's going on within the 5 great nations. They're trying to undermine the Hokage, so they're trying to figure out, okay, do we shut the village down, the gates down, or not? Naruto is conflicted by this, because he doesn't want to do that because it's going to cause a stir. But at the same time, he can't ignore the fact that somebody could be entering the village and be an outer member of Kara and cause a lot of mischief, or cause something that could cause great harm to the ninja world. So Naruto is like, hey guys, could you give me a day and I'll think about it? Just give me 1 day and I'll make my decision then. Yep, and Naruto kind of just goes around surveying the village, talking to the border leaf ninja who was in charge of people entering and exiting the village, talking to Kiba, talking to the police force. So Naruto's kind of trying to figure out, what to do. He even has a little fishing scene with Kakashi that was actually pretty nice. But he notices something going off in the distance, and during this episode, Denki was actually doing something, and Boruto, Sarada, and Mitsuki are, leaving, and Boruto keeps complaining about his arm. And Denki over here is like, hey, could you guys help me out and carry this thing up to the top of the Hokage monument? Which annoys Boruto and the others, but it's basically a hot air balloon that Denki put together. And he's trying to communicate with somebody outside the village. So he has Iwabe and Metal League go up into it, and they end up going out into the clouds, and they eventually hear the person, but Naruto catches wind of it. He's fishing with Kakashi, knows what's going on, and he's like, hey, what are you guys up to? But anyways, apparently, after witnessing this, and Denki meets up with or manages to communicate with his friend outside the village for this experiment, Naruto comes to the conclusion that, I'm not going to shut the gates. Because of this little scene here, he's like, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. But all jokes aside, the reason why Naruto did this is he talked about how chakra, he kind of aligns this with how chakra has the ability to connect people, and by doing something like this, by cutting off the village, it'd be like shutting that connection off. So he can't do that. However, he's going to be tightening security, which seemingly is leading up to what's going on in next week's episode for the most part. However, things get interesting at the very end of this episode. It's revealed that Victor is still alive. What a shock. But anyways, he's having a one-on-one with Jigen, and he basically blames everything on Deepa, and basically tries to cover things up and be like, Deepa was to blame, the Divine Tree was his idea, it wasn't mine, I almost died as a result of this, so, how's the vessel? How's that going? Jigen's over here like, what a foolish idea. Don't get your dreams up, don't get crazy dreams like this again. But Jigen's like, everything's going perfect with the vessel. And so Victor is such a snake. Not only does he sell out Deepa, but he wants to frickin' get Kawaki for himself. He wants to undermine Jigen by taking Kawaki, the vessel, for himself, which, what the heck are you going to accomplish with that, you dumb old man? But what a snake this guy is. But anyways, that's where the episode comes to an end, setting up what's probably going to be happening, I think, the next, not this upcoming episode, but the episode after that, I believe. It's called Victor's Scheme. Something like that. It's coming up anyways. But anyways, that's where the episode comes to an end. Just going to start with the good here. So obviously the good stuff in this episode is the informative stuff regarding Kara, regarding Deepa and Victor being revealed as Kara members, involving all that stuff, because now it reveals to Naruto and the others that Kara is a bigger threat than they originally anticipated. And now they're aware of all this stuff going on. Because if you read the manga, Kara kind of comes out of nowhere as a threat, and it's not really built up properly, in my opinion. So I like the fact that the anime is doing justice here and building Kara up to be an actual threat to the entire ninja world, in which these outer members are coming in to the Five Great Nations and causing all kinds of trouble to undermine the Kage and stuff like that. So I think this stuff is really cool. This is stuff that definitely adds to Kara, and it adds to this Kara actuation arc and going into the vessel arc. So great stuff there. Also the stuff with Victor at the end. So this guy, I think we know why what happens to him in the vessel arc happens. Because this guy is just a snake. And I love it. Because this guy blames everything on Deepa. And then he's like, I'm going to take Kawaki for myself. So I like how that stuff, all the stuff going on with Kara in this episode that Naruto and the others know. And the stuff with Victor at the end, it's all plot relevant, and it adds up. It's adding everything up to what we're going to get in the upcoming vessel arc. So all that stuff is good there. That being said, the stuff with Boruto and the others with the hot air balloon and stuff like that, I'm sorry, but that, I didn't care for that at all. I know a lot of people are going to agree with that, because that wasn't plot relevant. It was just, it was just okay, And then Naruto made the connection there with chakra, and that led to him making the decision not to close the gates, which I thought was a bit silly. But this part of the episode could have been omitted. The rest of the stuff was great though, but this part, meh. Don't really care for it that much. Alrighty guys, that's all I got for this video. So I will say the good outweighed the bad in this episode, but the bad did hurt this episode quite a bit. So I'm going to give this episode a solid 6 out of 10. So guys, in the comment section down below, what'd you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're new to the channel. And I'll talk to you all later. You all stay safe out there and have a great day or night wherever you're at. See ya!